Hello, Libaneft representatives. My name is Dr. Hamilton, and I'm a member of the International Olympic Committee, the IOC. This brief background check is part of your application towards becoming the host city for the 2176 Summer Olympic Games. So, tell me why you should host the Games.
Hello, Doctor. I'm Mayor Smith.
And I'm Ava Jones, Head Transportation Engineer.
And we are here representing the wonderful city of Libaneft. In 2013, Vancouver was overcrowded and congested. In fact, it was ranked the top most congested city in North America by the TomTom Traffic Study and Forbes Economy magazine. But in 2015, with the help of the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, we successfully redesigned the city, replacing older, outdated infrastructure with new technology and innovative ideas. With the reconstruction complete, we renamed Vancouver Libaneft, meaning life again in Old English.
To host the Olympics, our city's size must be able to accommodate the Games, and we believe that it is large enough. Libaneft is 630 square miles, with a population density of 22,500 people per square mile. Now, you're probably wondering how we managed to eliminate congestion with so many people.
Yes, I was just dying to know.
Well, our teams of engineers came together to identify and solve the problem of congestion. They started by brainstorming different ideas and finally came up with great solutions. They tested and perfected these new transportation systems, and they include
our Megaport, which is a seaport and an airport. The seaport utilizes our access to the Salish Sea, with boats for travel in and out of the city and submarines for freight transportation. Our airport has mainly planes and quadricopters.
So I'm assuming this would be your main way to get into the city?
Yes, another one of our transportation systems is our non-stop train, or NST.
What do you mean by non-stop?
Well, the train body is always in motion, and boarding cars latch on at each station. Passengers descend from the car into the main train body. At the next station, the car rolls off, and a new one latches on.
So I'm assuming this would mainly be used for your long-distance transportation needs?
correct. It brings you near your destination.
But what about going to more specific places? You're going to need more than one transportation system if you want to host the Games.
We have smaller scale transportation such as our bike share programs. The bikes have the option of pedaling or turning on a solar-powered engine.
But we have one more transportation innovation that really sets Libaneft apart from other cities and is perfect for whoever attends the Games.
It's a revolutionary innovation called the Plexus. The Plexus is a system of underground tubes designed by our civil engineers that run beneath the city. Modules, or mods, of varying sizes travel throughout these tubes.
How is a new subway system so innovative?
The Plexus is nothing like a subway system. It is made up of modules that travel through tubes without ever touching the track. They levitate by means of quantum levitation, which is a subset of superconductivity.
The mods are adapted for this because of their ceramic outer shell, which is cooled by liquid nitrogen running through veins underneath. We use charged superconducting materials such as niobium monoxide to create a strong electromagnetic field. This locks the mods in place and allows them to support up to 70,000 times their own weight.
They change direction in the tubes by streaming air out of cannons on their sides, and once set into motion, they encounter almost no friction, enabling a smooth and enjoyable ride.
This all sounds very interesting, but your Plexus just seems like an expensive investment.
Well, actually, it provides quite a bit of our city's power, mitigating the cost of the system. Nanotech engineers design nanoturbines to coat our mods. These harness wind energy as they move, and this energy goes back into the city.
But how would this eliminate congestion?
Well, it's fast, easy to access, and reliable. There are little to no traffic jams or crashes because of the internal system that navigates each mod. This also ensures that every mod and their passenger will get to their destination in the safest, most efficient way possible.
They're easy to use too, and accessible to people with all levels of mobility needs. Once you board a mod, a map appears, and you select where you want to go. Then, the mod lowers into the tunnel and takes you to your destination.
The Plexus and other modes of transportation are available at transportation hubs.
Your Plexus does seem useful, and your intermodality is fairly impressive. You would come into the city at your Megaport on a plane or quadricopter, then you would take the NST to where you want to go. After that, you would ride a bike or take the Plexus to your exact destination. However, how about you explain your transportation hubs to me?
Transportation hubs are centers that provide access to many of the transportation systems in Libaneft. They are located about every 2 miles throughout the city and within each compact urban cell.
Compact urban cell?
Yes, compact urban cells are a unique housing design designed by civil engineers and city planners. They provide all the amenities necessary for daily life in a walkable urban environment.
Are people restricted to just their cells?
No, we designed them like neighborhoods built for your convenience. We built our city around the idea that everything is within a walkable distance. This helps to reduce our city's carbon footprint, and it even reduces crime rates by creating a community feeling among the citizens.
Those compact urban cells really do seem beneficial to your residents. But what kind of housing do you have for tourists or athletes who come to visit during the games?
Well, the majority of our hotels are located here. Our Olympic Village is located here, and there is even a hotel in the pillar supporting the stadium.
That elevated design for your stadium really does add nicely to the skyline of your city. I'm assuming it will be your main Olympic stadium?
Yes, and the elevated design allows it to save space while still maintaining its appeal and functionality. It's accessible to everyone in our city and will be used in our community long after the games.
Now, what about your emergency services? Any city who hosts the games is going to need really well-equipped emergency facilities.
Well, our emergency service complexes, which contain fire, police, and medical stations, have the newest technology regarding health and safety.
Or other city services? You're going to need those if you want your city to run smoothly.
Libanef's infrastructure is seamless from transportation to sanitation, and we have very little pollution due to our green lifestyle and high communal standards. And we use bioreactive type waste removal, which decomposes faster and is better for the environment.
The use of alternative energy sources, such as our hydroelectric plant here, helps to ensure sustainability for Libaneft.
What about things to do in your city? I know that anybody who lives there or comes to visit want plenty of things to do and see.
We have many attractions, such as our internationally renowned opera house and our spectacular visitor center with the fountain above it. We also have many parks, museums, gardens, and malls.
So what other transportation systems did you think about besides the ones you mentioned?
So when we first started planning our city, we had a really big team of 16 people, and so with all of that people, there's a lot of different inputs and ideas that we looked at. But a lot of the things that we looked at were present-day technologies that we're using that are just starting to be developed, like quantum levitation is right now. For example, one thing we looked at were the concept of monorails, which are becoming more widespread in use, and the new Hyperloop train.
Yes, we also looked at straddling buses, which was something we thought about, but in the end, we decided that our nonstop train would be more efficient.
Yeah, we went through a lot of the different aspects of each transportation system that we thought of, and then when we narrowed it down to these three, we found that it was very useful just to use these.
You talked about how pollution was so bad back in 2013. What are the top 2 or 3 innovations in your city that address what would otherwise be pollution?
Well, one aspect of our city is our green roofs, and when we were researching why a lot of futuristic cities that we see today have so many green roofs, we found something that we hadn't thought about before, is that they actually collect dust and smog particles in the air, which reduces air pollution actually by a lot more than we thought it would.
We also use mainly alternative energy resources as opposed to what a lot of cities use now, such as our hydroelectric plant, wind turbines on the Plexus modules, and others.
Also, our transportation systems don't produce any harmful emissions to the environment. Our Plexus and the nonstop train run entirely on superconductivity, which is a type of magnetic levitation, and so that does not pollute the environment in any way.
Given the geographic constraints of Vancouver, how would you accommodate population growth? Where, as the city grows, where would the people go?
Well, we focused a lot on building up since that is how our city is set out. And we recognized that with the Olympics, there will be lots of tourists coming in and people who may end up wanting to move to Libaneft in the future.
Yes, so having the premise of the Olympics helped us think about that influx of people, and for us it was tourists. So we also made sure that our transportation systems can hold more. So if more people come to just this area, so we wouldn't have to make more tracks, we could easily add more modules into our systems or add more nonstop train cars. So without building a whole new system for the same area, we could help accommodate more people.
Like Anna said, building up rather than out is a very easy way to use small spaces and still accommodate large amounts of people. As you'll see in several cities today, that there are lots of sprawling and tall skyscrapers rather than large flat areas of mostly shorter buildings. And having these tall spaces allows you to have lots of people in just one small space.
More mundane question for your model. What was the most expensive components that were needed to build it?
Well, our plexus is underground, so that we knew would have a lot of budgeting problems.
Yeah, and actually working with the SimCity helped us understand budgeting for a city because we found the balance between importing and exporting. And also to build our physical model, one thing that was actually the most expensive was paint because we used mostly recycled materials, so we really didn't have to buy anything to put on our physical model except paint.
Yeah, for our model, we were really lucky. We were able to find and be donated to a lot of the components that go into our city. And besides the paint, we purchased some magnets to use for our boats, and we feel that there's a really nice effect that it adds to it. Luckily, the magnets weren't that expensive, but since we purchased so little, it's one of the most expensive items in the city.
What are you going to do when the Olympic visitors move out and you've got all this excess capacity for hotel space and transportation?
Actually, when researching the Olympics, we found that that was one of the requirements, was that you were able to use the facilities that you made for the Olympics after the Olympics actually happened, and so you didn't have excess stuff.
Yeah, so we've planned on using the Olympic Village as a large tourist destination to stay in the hotels that athletes have stayed in, to have maybe parks there or gardens or recreational activities.
That's also why our megaport is so close to the Olympic Stadium and why it's in such a metropolitan area, so that it's very easy to access and it's a great tourist attraction and it's not out of the way for visitors that come.
How did engineers hold paramount the safety of these people and accommodating a large amount of population in a condensed area?
So our emergency facilities, which have fire, police, and medical services located there, they use